Welcome back, watch fans. Yet another Tissot and another unboxing, but a little bit different one. I started this video and then I decided to change it up a little bit, and I'll tell you why. I noticed that these Tissots have a bracelet that is so vastly different from some of the other more articulating bracelets, and I'll get into that. But briefly, we'll cover what I wanted to show on this very pretty gold style watch. Not real gold, of course. That's PVD. It is the Tissot PR100, 41 millimeters across, build at 9.7 thick. We'll measure that real quick. It's more like 10.9. And measure the distance of the width there, 41. It has, I believe, 20 millimeter lugs. It is a chronograph. It is quartz. Pretty basic watch as far as they are concerned. But I started to take a little closer look at this. Of course, yeah, it's your micro adjustment. And in handling this one, I realized that the bracelet is even less articulating than the Tissot Gentleman that I had a while back, which I think is a cool watch. The bracelet clearly is the limiting factor. And I started to really think about what is the deciding factor of comfortable bracelet, of articulation, what makes a nice quality bracelet. And I figured I would talk about that real quick, because I think that it's important to note that just because it does not articulate does not mean that it may be uncomfortable, but at the same time, it could. So without going all the way through it, look at all the materials we have. This Tissot actually came with something really cool as well. I wanted to show that. This booklet right here is a product booklet from Tissot, and that thing is super cool. It has all their models in it. I don't know what year this is from. It's from a few years back, of course. This is a model that has been discontinued, but looking through here, oh, I love this book. It's like a wish book for Tissot products. And of course, this one has a history of Tissot that is in French and other languages. It's something that I probably wouldn't read, but regardless, if you wanted some light reading, there it is. So let's take a little discussion about these bracelets. Wrist check, Christopher Ward, the Aquitaine on this red rubber strap in honor of America's birthday, 4th of July weekend. Here we are. So I started looking at this and I noticed how fairly rigid the bracelet is. It kind of holds its shape, especially if you clip it together. And of course, you got a little stamped clasp, and it's not an expensive watch. It's inexpensive. It has that gold look though, if that's what you're into. It does have a chronograph function. Of course, the way it usually just sets is spinning with that second hand going, and everybody can go into that. But I wanted to talk more about the bracelet because I started to think about what is the difference between these and, say, either more comfortable or more refined bracelets. There, that is on my 7.3 inch wrist. It is a 41 millimeter. Fits very well, and it's definitely not uncomfortable. The edges, of course, of the bracelet are going to create a comfortable feel, and comfortable is also very subjective. So I kind of thought, people talk about the quality of bracelets, so I wanted to look into that. And I had a good example, nothing too fancy, but I have a great example of one that people say is the most comfortable bracelet on the smaller brands, so the micro brand market. And that is the Monta. This is the Monta Triumph. You can take a look at my review I just did a few days ago about this watch. This brand is an awesome brand out of St. Louis, Missouri, right here in good old US of A. But they are well known for having very well done watches, very refined watches, and you can see that's very thin. This is 38 millimeters, a little over 38. Where's bigger than that? And I'll put that on just so that you can see the way it looks. On again my 7.3 inch wrist. That's just a beauty. Oyster style bracelet, very different watch. But I wanted to look at the bracelet because when you hold these two up, you can see the difference. The articulation in this is amazing. I mean, it is so smooth. The edges are all chamfered. I think that that adds greatly to the wearability and comfort of the bracelet. And of course, there are other examples out there. The Jubilee bracelet, for one, from Rolex, beautiful. Same thing with Tudor, beautiful, beautiful bracelets, very, very smooth, and I have an Oris with one like that. However, I thought this was a good way to compare because if you look at the portions of the bracelet, they're similar size, of course, older style. I do like the appearance of the bracelet on this, but when you handle it, you definitely see a big difference in the way they articulate. This one lays very, very flat, and you will hear people talk about how it won't lay flat. That's what this means. It is standing up very high, and of course the Monta. And you see their pictures, they show the bracelet rolled over on itself. It's just, the articulation is amazing. Honestly, I'm not really sure exactly how they do that, but I thought this was a good way to show the difference. Not that it has to articulate when it's on your wrist, and maybe people don't care, but if you think of this as jewelry, a very comfortable bracelet will wrap around your wrist and mold to it. This one is definitely not going to do that. Whereas this one, even though it has similar sized links, it will curve around to just about any size wrist. I just thought that might be kind of interesting to people and wanted to talk about it, but Monta definitely has a very sublime bracelet and very well done. The machining and everything. Of course, this has a nice look, gold tone PVD. These are, of course, not as expensive, probably much more difficult to manufacture a bracelet like the Monta. And of course, you have to cut costs wherever you can. Cool watch, not one that not one I would really wear, I don't think, but I think it has a good size. I was curious about the tone of the gold, which is why I picked it up, and I just thought I would review it. It's also quartz, so if you're into that, well, there you go. However, let me know in the comments what you think about bracelet comfort, whether or not you're one that believes that it really matters, or if there's a difference, even if you can tell a difference in bracelets like these two, where they can articulate and not. However, sometimes your mileage may vary. Of course, everybody's different. But what else do you want to hear? What else do you want to see? Let me know and give me a like and subscribe and all that jazz at the same time. Thank you for watching.